Okay, moving on to Texas Tech. I know we talked a little bit about these guys last week, but we're going a little bit more depth here with them. It's obviously a team that poses a lot of challenges. Have for a long time. Back when I was fortunate to be a part of this program for almost 10 years. So. Know quite a bit about it. West Virginia knows quite a bit about it based on the last 4 years, and got a lot of guys that have been in this type of game here over the last couple of years. So that makes my job a little bit easier as far as trying to figure out, trying to get our guys to understand the environment there, understand their style of play, who they are, what they're about, that sort of thing. So. It should be fun. Looking forward to this trip. Always love going back to Lubbock. It's a great football environment. Excited about the 11 a.m. kick. That's good for us. Good for the road team anyway. Night games there are pretty tough, and anytime we can play that early on the road, it suits us well, so we can get back here and move on to the next game. So. Think of Texas Tech. You think of their offense. I mean, what they're doing right now offensively is pretty impressive. Patrick Mahomes is like I said this at the media days. He's a fantastic football player. Big, physical, smart. Really has given up baseball. I don't know if that's temporarily or what. You never know on that, but. I know the work that he's put in has shown. So he looks like he's much more in control of the offense and just making the routine plays. He did a great job of that against Kansas State last week, and is playing at a very, very high level. They got a great receiving core. They're deep. Got a lot of guys that can make some plays. Look to me like they're the same up front that they always are as well. They're big, do a great job in pass protection. Cliff knows what he's doing. We can get those guys ready to go, and we got our work cut out for us on defense. I think we've handled what they've done the last couple of years, but if you look at what they've done here over the last couple of years at home, it's pretty impressive. They're putting up a lot of points, scoring a lot of points, running a lot of plays, and we got to be prepared for that. Defensively, it looks to me like Coach Gibbs, known David for a long time. He's getting those guys. He's getting those guys better. Playing a lot of young guys. I think they're playing 5 or 6 true freshmen. Got a couple of transfers in there on the D line. Looks like a different group from what they put out there last year. They're competing. They're lined up right. Guys are going to continue to get better and better. We're going to have to find a way to score a few more points than we've scored over the last 4 games. What we've averaged, 29 points a game, isn't going to be enough. We know that, and I'm looking forward to the challenge of going out there and doing what we got to do to score enough points to win. Special teams, it looks improved as well. They brought in Joe Robinson, who is at South Carolina, been doing special teams for a long time. Looks to me like they're spending a lot of time with these units, and they're covering hard. They're doing a good job in the return game, and it's something that's helping them win some ball games. So should be a fun time. Should be a good atmosphere. Should be a good environment. Should 2 good quality Big 12 teams going at it. We'll do what we got to do this week to get prepared for everything that all the challenges that they possess. One side note, I know this has been brought up by a bunch of you guys, but Josh Lambert is no longer a part of the football team. We appreciate everything he's done here. He's had a great career at West Virginia. He's got his degree, and we wish him the best moving forward. I won't comment on it other than that. Very comfortable with Mike Molina. Did a great job for us the first 4 games, and he's our kicker, has been our kicker. And I know he's going to do a great job. So with that, take some questions.
Any options with Molina kickoff? I mean, would you look at a John Young or something, or Billy Kennedy, or what do you do there?
Well, they've been repping. They just aren't as good as Mike. So Mike's done some good things. You know, the only thing that I worry about, and Mike's handled everything wonderfully. The only thing I worry about is a lot of kicks on legs. You know, you got to worry about that. That's where John comes in. That's where Billy comes in. I don't think anybody would be interested in uprooting what Billy's doing in the punt department. He's functioning extremely well. As he gets older, more mature, more experienced, he'll probably be able to take on a little bigger load, you know. And then John's got an unbelievable leg. Just got to keep bringing him along as well.
When you talk about needing to score more points, how do you achieve that? Is that execution, taking more chances, fourth downs and stuff like that? How do you?
You take the ball and you put it in a kid's hands and he crosses the goal line. Guy's got to score. I mean, geez. I mean, we're moving the ball. We're averaging a lot of yards. We got to score more, period. How does that happen? Well, you get guys that get the ball in the end zone. That's how it happens. I think you can understand where I'm at with that.
With that said, though, do coaches have a different mentality when you think it's going to be a high-scoring game?
No, I don't. I mean, you know, we've you know, I think we've played great defense against these guys the last 2 years. You know, they'll be the first to tell you that. 31 points was enough to win last year. I'm, you know, very thankful for that. 37 was enough to win the year before that. You know, I think we're playing good defense, and by no means do I want to disrespect our defense at all. I just see what they're doing, and they're scoring some points. They have a mentality on offense that the ball is going to cross the goal line. So if we got to get the ball across the goal line to, you know, a few more times to win, then that's what the mentality needs to be. You know, if you know, based on how the game's going like it was last year, if we want to run the ball 60 times a game and keep them off the field, then by all means that's what we'll do. You don't know what you're going to have to do until you're in the game and you figure it out, and that's what you got to be able to do. That's why I like being balanced, is because we have the ability to do both. I'd like to think that we have the ability to do both and be successful at both.
Would you talk a little bit about your progression from being in a throwing offense and learning in that into accepting being balanced? Has it been a hard change? I mean,
Oh, no, it hadn't been hard. I think the biggest thing that coaches need to get over themselves a little bit at is figuring out what your personnel is and giving them a chance to be successful. We don't have a 6'5" pocket quarterback that can sit back there and deliver the ball down the field. It's just not what Skyler's strengths are. I mean, his strengths are a completely different skill set. So you got to take what you have and you got to work hard on it, and you got to feel good about it and have the confidence to be able to go into a game and do that stuff effectively in order to be able to win. So we've improved in the pass game. Our receivers have improved. Our protection's improved. Skyler's improved. If we need to sit back there and sling it around 50, 60 times, then we will. That's what we did against Arizona State because that's what they were giving us. I don't know what Texas Tech's game plan is. If you can get me that game plan, Bob, then I can adjust what we need to be working on this week.
Do you expect to see guys like Toyas and Antonio Crawford back this week?
Should be. Toyas looked good last week. Crawford was a little hobbled, but he's, he ran around a good bit, so we'll look at him this week. Toyas is back full go. I'm expecting Crawford to be back full go today.
Coach, you were talking earlier about, you certainly have a lot of experience with what Texas Tech is doing offensively. If you come up with a list of things to counter that, how high up would be, running the football on your guys' offense, be up on that list? Because it seems like, the more you can keep them off the field, it certainly would
Yeah, I mean that's in a perfect world, that's what you want to do. That's what everybody would like to do. If you're punting every 3 plays when you're trying to do that, then that's not going to work out very good for you. If you get down a couple of scores and the clock's ticking and you get into the second half, that's probably not going to work very good either. So, that's why I keep talking a lot about being balanced is being able to do what you need to do based on what the defense is doing and based on how the game is going. There's a game plan element to it. There's a in-game adjustment element to it. There's a game management element to it that you got to kind of look at. We were winning with the ball with 6 minutes and 50 seconds left in the game last year, and we were able to we didn't need to score, so we took a knee on the one. But so you got to kind of feel how the game's going. You got to look at what the defense is giving you. You got to feel how the game's going. You got to look at your overall aspect of your team and what you need from your offense in order to be successful. And that changes. It changes in game. It changes from game to game, but it changes in game as well.
Looking at the Mahomes performance last week, if you hadn't known that he had hurt his right shoulder, would you have even known watching tape of that game?
Must have had some good medicine. No, he didn't. He didn't look hurt to me. I mean, he didn't look like he was running around as much. It looked to me like they were kind of trying to protect him from some hits, which is a pretty good idea against Kansas State. I thought they managed it really well, and I thought he played really well. I thought he was great in the pocket. Didn't look like a different player to me. Didn't take as many chances on the run, but didn't need to either.
Cliff went for it on fourth down a lot. You've done that at times yourself. Was that a Leach thing?
Oh, yeah. Never heard me tell those stories?
A little bit.
Mike, it's fourth down. Well, what do you want to do? Well, punting is a good idea. It's 4th and 20. Yeah, but I mean that's he didn't like to punt very much. Yeah, I mean that's probably based on how the game's going. Probably based on how your defense is playing. There's a lot of things that go into that. Against Kansas State, we almost went for it on that first fourth down, but I thought it was the right idea to get the points, which we didn't. But and then moving forward, going into the game, we were down. We needed a score, so it made us take a few more chances. When you're down, you typically do that.
Dana, as you've been going through the tapes of your team, is there any kids on either side that have shown significant improvement that maybe catches your attention?
We've seen David Long. I mean, he's moved into a starting position because he's made some plays. That's a young kid that'll keep getting better. I thought Colton McKivitz went in there and played well. Another young kid, 2 redshirt freshmen that will continue to get better. Those are the 2 that come to mind offensively and defensively. I think we'll continue to see a lot of guys that may not show up in the stat sheet that get a lot of time on special teams. That's kind of probably what I look at a little bit more than the production box score aspect of it. You're going to play about 52 to 55 players every Saturday. Only half that's going to be in the box score. If half that's going to be in the box score. So, I look at who's taking those kickoff reps and the kickoff return reps and making the most of those opportunities. That's probably what I look at more than anything.
Along the line with the punting, whether it's in a game like this or just a conference like this, how important is it not to be worried or scared of punting? Because it seems like a lot of teams do go for it because they're worried about either their defense or the other offense.
Well, if you look at the areas that I've went for it, I mean, the punt team's not in the equation. Is that your question?
I just mean in general, like if you're not in that obvious, inside the 40, right?
Right.
And you have faith in your defense, or you think you have a handle on their offense, and you're not afraid to give them the ball. That seems like it's an important part that maybe not everybody that they don't have that confidence, whether it's a game like this or in that conference in general.
Yeah, I'd rather flip the field, honestly. I mean, there's a little bit of a difference of philosophy with me and some of the other guys out there, but I'd rather flip the field and give our defense a chance as opposed to put them in a bad situation. So you're going to see us punt in those situations a lot more than not. But that 40 and in deal, I mean, this was a whole off-season study that we did. That's why you're seeing us go for it more in that area. Last year, last year and the year before, we would kick the field goal a lot right there. I'd rather go for it and get the points. Talking about points, you got to take some chances in order for that to happen.
With your balance and your ability to do a lot of different things, multiple, how has it been able? Have you been able to have a practice time, making sure you devote enough to everything, and not too little in one area or too much in another?
You don't have to work on as much of the other stuff. I mean, when you got an experienced guy like T.O., I mean, he understands all the protections and what we're supposed to do, so that reduces a lot of the practice time. Skyler's a smart kid that understands the scheme aspect of it, having experienced receivers. That you're not devoting a lot of practice time on what to do. So, that allows you to be a little bit more creative with it and change up some things on a week-to-week basis. It's from an offensive perspective, we're in a good place when it comes to that. The productivity needs to improve a little bit. You've heard me say it 3 or 4 times here in this deal. We need to score a little bit more. I've said it to the team a lot. Hopefully this will be the week we do that. We'll get more than 10 possessions. That probably ought to give us a chance to score a little more.
Dana, will Schultz still start over?
Yeah, he's our starting back. He's been great leadership-wise. He's practiced hard. He's got a toughness to him that needs to exist on offense. Really happy with Crawford. He's doing a great job. He's going to get the ball a bunch. There's a leadership aspect of being a starter. And love where Crawford's at. They may both start. So I mean I wouldn't look into exactly who it is, but why Russ goes out there is because he's that valuable to our team. Da'Keel Shorts has stepped up and been a fantastic leader for us. The more of these guys we have step up and do the things that they've been doing, the better off we're going to be. I can say that about Jeremy Tyler on defense and Justin Arndt on defense. I mean, don't mean to leave anybody out, but the more of those guys step up from a leadership point of view, that's more important than one guy making an exciting play every now and then.
Now, you were at Texas Tech for a decade, and in that, what seems from the outside to be a strictly offensive culture, does that hurt their chances of ever being good on defense? I mean, you almost get the sense that the defensive unit doesn't get to eat dinner until after the offense eats. I mean, is that a problem?
You'd have to ask them. We changed our thought process a little bit a few years ago. And I like where we're at. I mean, I think the way that we play and the toughness we play with, the mentality that we play with is I think our defense is made a lot of strides here over the last 3 years, 4 years. So I worry about where we're at with that and what we're doing to make those guys as good as we can. I mean, I don't know what's going on there. You'd have to ask them.
Is there any benefit playing a team that just played someone that you played before you took your break in Kansas State? I mean, is there, when watching the game, were you able to see, well, we could do this because Kansas State was able to do this? Or?
That gives you a little gauge to it, clearly. By no means can you figure out exactly what's going to happen on the next Saturday based on those 2 games. Every game is different. That's why this game's so awesome. it gives you a little bit of an idea where you're at. Looks to me like it's going to be two pretty evenly matched teams. I mean, the dynamic of us and Tech is completely different than us and Kansas State, which is completely different than Kansas State and Texas Tech, if that makes any sense. But with that said, I think it's two pretty evenly matched teams. Last 2 years have been close. Last 3 years have been close. You know, I'd anticipate another close one here this Saturday.
Dan, when you play a team that plays that fast, do you have to be more cognizant of rotating depth, especially defensively?
Probably. You know, we're averaging 80 plays a game on defense, and Tech's averaging 85, I believe. I mean, Missouri played 100. BYU, I don't know how they did it, but they played like 90. So we've seen it, and we know how to play against it. We've played against it the last couple years. I think we're third or fourth in the league in plays per game at 78, 79. You know, so we're snapping the ball a good bit. We'd like to snap it more, get more possessions. We probably will. But defensively, that's one thing I think Gibby does a great job of. I mean, he can get lined up quick. He can get calls in quick. He can change calls quick. I think our depth is decent to the point that we'll be able to rotate some people in there as well.